Hello, hello, hello. Long time no see. Wow, I can't believe it's already the end of 2023. 2023 has been such a beautiful year in both my spiritual and creative and healing journey. I feel like it's really been a year of finding some footing in where my creativity plays in my life, where spirituality, really has a foothold in my life. And for a year that was supposed to be a no-buy year, I sure have brought in quite a few decks in this year. I think that I really found like my groove and what works in decks for me, what I felt like I was maybe lacking in my collection before. And so I want to jump on and do a 2023 top 5 tarot, top 5 oracle, all in all, a top 10 deck. Ooh, I'm gonna try not to shake the camera too much. A top 10 deck review. Let me scoot this back just a little so I don't hit it. Oh, hold on, y'all. We are working in real time right now. Okay. So yeah, why don't we do it? They won't be in any particular order here. I just kind of wanted to pull a couple of my decks that came into my collection this year, which happened to be the decks that I have, even looking at the decks that I pulled in last year. These decks just overall, I think, are my top 10 decks. I do have 2 honorable mentions because I got them in so late into the year and they feel very big. Like the practice around them feels very, very big and kind of what I want to really bring into my practice in 2024. And so I'll pull those at the end. But why don't we just jump in and get started? I think why don't we do Oracle first? So it wouldn't be a 2023 top 5 Oracle deck list without my deck, From Roots to Blooms. This is definitely something that I am the most proud of achieving in 2023 is the inception of this idea, the creation of these cards, designing the box, designing the guidebook, meeting my friend Jo, who offered her expertise as an editor to work on the guidebook with me. And just all in all, it was such a valuable experience making this deck. Putting it on Kickstarter, putting it out into the world, and really challenging myself to move through self-doubt and move through fear of failure and move through judging myself and judging others and really grounding my practice. I think I was very much in my head. I mean, I've been very much in my head for a lot of my life. I have a lot of air elements in my chart. I'm a Gemini. and a Scorpio moon. So it just kind of intensifies some of that. But yeah, it really made me ground myself and ground my practice. And I think this was the first step in taking a look at embodiment, which is a topic that will likely come up a couple times during this video. But I just really wanted something very grounded and without the toxic positivity, without invalidating feelings and experiences, but something that could just be a companion to pull a single card, get the message, or go deeper within the guidebook. The Blooms cards here, they have affirmations that go along with them. And then each of the Roots cards or Blooms cards have a write-up and then like 3 questions that you can use in your journaling journey. And so, yeah, I feel like this is such just a beautiful deck to have created. I'm excited that my bulk order is being printed and should be shipped out to me soon so that I can ship out to my Kickstarter backers, and then it will be available on my Etsy as well. But yeah, start off strong with my deck from Roots to Blooms. And then let's see. Again, they're not in any particular order. That is a favorite, probably a top favorite because, you know, I'm so intimately involved with it. But I guess we'll show my second deck, which is the Roots and Wings. And this is the mini. Here's the little like pamphlet that it comes with, the Roots and Wings Oracle deck. I think this should still be available on Etsy. And this is by Kat Riles. And again, this is the mini. And I think the backing of this is just so beautiful. I love the backing of the mini. And I adore this deck. I think what is so beautiful about this deck is, I mean, the art, hello. I think the keywords are fantastic and very balanced. I like to use this deck to do full readings with, especially when I read for others at like markets or events. I really like to use this deck to read for others. I can do full readings with this deck. It's just so well balanced. But I tend to use this deck as the deck that I pull 1, sometimes 2 cards from every single time I take a shower. And it has become one of my most favorite practices to sit, pull a card or 2 from this deck, and have something to reflect on as I take a shower and sit and allow the water to connect me to that water element, that intuition, emotions, cleansing, right? And clarity. And I like to use this deck for that. It's probably what I use it the most for, because again, every time I take a shower, I pull from this deck. There is a card in here, which watch now that I'm talking about it's going to show up, but there is a card in here that haunts me, stalks me from this deck. And it's like I can't get away from it. I have done, there it is. It is this bound card. And this card comes up for me all the time. I don't have a full, I haven't gotten there. I haven't gotten the full message from what it is trying to say to me. But man, like I'll pick the deck up, pull it out, cut it to shuffle it. There's the bound card. Shuffle it, card pops out, bound. I'm like, okay, let's get a different message today. Put it back in. Hand over hand. Shuffle it. Cut it again. Bound. Like, and it's like that often. But I think it just goes to show that it's such a good communicator and that it brings up, it's so good at bringing up like what the root of the message is. So that is, again, that is the Roots and Wings. Another top deck for 2023 and a favorite to use. Okay. Next we'll do the Poesis Oracle. I love this deck. I think it's, first of all, just really beautifully made. There are a lot of cards too. I think it's like 77 cards. So love that. It has this really beautiful, almost like a matte, like antique gold. I think it's stunning. And then the backs are gorgeous as well. Yeah. What can I say about this deck? I think it's stunning. It pairs with so many things with this minimal color palette of this like creamy color with this black on this soft matte or this soft touch matte cardstock. Oh man, I've had powerful readings with this deck alone. I like to do my daily draws and I work with like one deck a week. And this is one that I sat with for at least 2 weeks, took a break, came back because, oh man, it's so good. It is so good. I think the depictions are so interestingly done. Some of these ones throw me a little bit. This works for me with the chaos. It's definitely chaotic. But that kind of style does come up sometimes, and I'm like, what are you saying? But this deck is so good at doing that and being like, just look at it from a different perspective. I feel like it is so succinct. It is a very well-rounded deck with its keywords. And I just adore it. I really do. I want to do a whole video just doing pairings with this deck because there are so many. But it was actually this deck, and this card was a part of this reading that I did that really got me ready to start like my ancestral practice that I have been working within for, I was planning on starting in 2024 to really get in and do more of an ancestral practice. I bought Nancy Hendrickson's Ancestral Grimoire, which kind of breaks down, it's like a month, 12-month, starting in January, working with your ancestors in different ways. And so I was like, I'll just start in January. But this deck really made me look and see like, no, start now. Start to build those relationships now. And yeah, I'm glad I did because I feel even more prepared for what's to come in January, kind of laying down some groundwork with the relationships and coming into communion and offering time and energy to my lineage and the lessons to be learned there, which actually leads me right into the next deck that I want to talk about, which is the Herbal Astrology Oracle. Oof. Honestly, if I had to pick like top one, top two, from roots to blooms, hello, top one, but this this is up there. This deck I have been working with for my daily pulls for months now without switching out. Because, wow, my ancestors have found me through this deck. We have found each other. We have found a language that we communicate with through the words, through the images, through the guidebook of this deck. Incredible. I actually did a reading for my mom recently with this deck, and she was so moved by it that she's borrowing, it was like 2 or 3 cards that I pulled. She is borrowing those cards and the guidebook to really digest and integrate. So I wish I could show you just an example of how amazing the guidebook for this deck is, but oh, it's so good. And it feels like whatever I don't pick up immediately from the card, once I go to the guidebook, it's like instantly there's something that sticks out that's like, that is the message. This card in particular, I'm very connected to. My ancestors have shown me that this peaceful warrior is like my purpose. It is the journey that I'm on. It is the reason that, you know, for my coming to them, for my communion with them, to understand their strengths, understand their trials and tribulations, but again, also their triumphs, and utilizing that to be able to be in service as this peaceful warrior. So this card is especially meaningful to me. And then there's another one that will likely come up, but I think the artwork is beautiful. I mean, so detailed. There's so much to pull from in this art. And wow, I mean, I just enjoy it so much. I'm trying to come across the other card that it feels like magic when I see it. Let's see. And I love too that there's so many plants and herbs and flowers that I'm not even that familiar with. I feel like I've learned so much. Oh, there they are. So this card. This card is how I have come to know to address my aligned ancestors as my beloveds. They throw this card out at me every time I pick this deck up. As soon as I call in that energy, set my space, really tap into the energy of like ancestral communication, of giving offering of my time, energy, effort to the building of relationship with my ancestors. This card comes flying out of the deck, just like, we're here, we're your beloveds. So I now lovingly refer to my aligned ancestors as my beloveds. But this card, it smells differently than the rest of the cards, which might sound silly to say, but in my work with this deck, again, it's like as soon as this card would come out, I would have this familiar, perfumed scent fill my space, where I had been sitting in this space before tapping into this energy. And it's as soon as I really dig into that ancestral energy and they show me their card, and then this beautifully kind of musty floral scent rolls in and pulses, and it's been magical. It's been magical. I adore this deck, and it's a highly recommend. I mean, highly. I love this deck so much. So that is the Herbal Astrology. And finally, I have the Mother Mary Oracle. Now, this is a surprise for me. I grew up Christian, not having any relationship or even very much knowledge or knowing about Mother Mary. If anything, she was kind of disparaged along with Catholicism. These, silly ritualistic Christians that have these saints and these rituals, and Mother Mary was kind of lumped in, and it's through my healing of some of that ingrained patriarchal, bigoted view of how women are meant to show up. It was like this internalized patriarchal toxicity that I was holding in my body, shame in my body, and in my heart. And I'm so grateful to have been touched by other people speaking about Our Lady and the Mother Mary and her other many names, that I have just felt called to read about her, and I feel so intrinsically like close to her energy now. And having this divine mother, this divine creatrix, this all loving, all supportive, all protecting mother of cycles and mother of all creation, tapping into that energy, especially being a mother of a young son, and especially as the atrocities in Palestine continue to play out right in front of our eyes. I've dealt with a lot of rage and grief and mother wounding, that working with the Mother Mary, and again, her many names, has really helped to support my well-being. And yeah, I love this deck. I think the art's beautiful. I think the guidebook is well done. It's a little wordy. It is a Alana Fairchild deck, but there's some really beautiful nuggets in there that also just kind of shout to me like, this is what is being said. So yeah, a surprise addition to my top 5 oracle decks this year, I gotta say, but a very welcome one. Okay, on to tarot. Let's do it. So this is just sitting at the top, so we're gonna grab it. This is a deck that I got my first pocket edition last year, at the end of last year, but it was so good that I needed the full thing, and that is the Tarot of the Pagan Cats. I freaking love this deck. Again, I got the small, I got this little tiny one, and the art was just, there's so much detail that you can pick out from in these cards with these cats, and I freaking adore it. I really do. I think it's so beautiful, and it's very RWS, but there are just so many good and clever little details that they sneak in here that I just love. Like seeing this, these moon phase placards in the back to speak to time passing, Oh, I just think it's so good. And I just love all the cats on here. Like this 8 this Eight of Pentacles, where we have this elemental energy kind of coming down and swirling around the cat's mind. It's not just the cat sitting and tediously working, but it's this like very dynamic and like tuned in approach to this work. And it's like little details like this that really, really work for me. Again, this is not a new deck. I don't even know when it was published. What does it say right here? I don't know. But I love this deck, and it's such a good reader. It loves to come out when I am doing readings for other people. And it just speaks just so clearly. These sweet little kitties. So yeah, a great deck, a solid reader that I'm really happy to have a full-size edition of. Just getting to see the details paired with these little babies up close, and it shuffles. Oh my god, does it shuffle? Let's just give it a shuffle, because I love the way this deck shuffles. Yes. Okay. So that was Tarot of Pagan Cats for Tarot deck number 1. Let's do Tarot of the Abyss by Anatolian. This was my very first black and white deck. I say very first like I have so many. I think I only have one other, maybe 2 other black and white decks, but this one, oh, it is so good. Anatolian's depictions in this like scratchy kind of style, this ink style that she did, I think it's so profound, and it just like hits me right in the intuition. And I think, I don't know, there aren't enough words. Oh, this Ace of Pentacles is so beautiful. This has one of my favorite depictions, if not my favorite depiction, of the Ten of Pentacles, which for me is a card that symbolizes ancestry, ancestral ties, lineage, ancestral messages, healing, all of that. And it's got one of my absolute favorites. And I kind of just peek around until I find it. But I also think it has helped me so much with court cards. They're, yeah, some of the best court cards on here. It's like there's a story that runs through from page to king, and you just see the energy like build and the way that they grow and mature, which is super helpful. There it is. This Ten of Pentacles is stunning, and this is how I experienced the Ten of Pentacles. This very ancestral passing down of the good and the bad, right? The strengths and the weaknesses. So yeah, I love this deck. I don't miss the color at all. I think it's so intuitive. I love this Wise One for the Hierophant as well. Yeah, great deck. I'm very excited because her Tarot of Echoes went on pre-order, and I had to do it. I know it's coming out mass market through US Games in a couple years, she assumes. I couldn't wait, and I wanted the indie version, so I went for it, and I'm so stoked to have that coming in 2024, but Tarot of the Abyss is absolutely on the list for 2023. Let's see. This is the Little Sister Tarot, and this was the very first Kickstarter deck I ever backed, and I chose the perfect deck for that. I think it is so flippin' beautiful. I love the backing. Has this matching blue matte edging there. Honestly, I think my only complaint is that it's a little bit of a thickie, a little bit of a rough time shuffling, but totally worth this deck. You can make it happen. And I think the more I do it, the better it gets. So, but this was made by Jenny Thompson, and she painted every single one of these. And I just love how strokey it is. I love this deck for ancestral readings also. It pairs really beautifully with the Herbal Astrology Oracle. And so I love using these two together. I just think it's gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous. And yeah, there's not enough good words that I could say about this deck. I think it's just beautiful and so grounded. And I love like the pattern work that she tucks in here. Just so much texture, so much heart in this deck. And it became a fast favorite as soon as I got my hands on it. Very into it. Because I mean, oh my God, it's just beautiful. The colors. So that's the Little Sister Tarot. And I know that that is available on Etsy also, with a quick search. Let's see. I'll do my, if I had to pick like one tarot deck, y'all, it's probably the Fifth Spirit Tarot. I think what I appreciate about it so much is how worldly it feels. And this is by Charlie Claire Burgess. And this is the mass market edition. But I just feel like you see the world in this deck. I feel like you see people of all shapes, sizes, skin tones. I just connect so well with this deck, and I love the art, like as soon as I saw it, but I was like, it's a little parsed down. There's so much of this kind of like open space. This deck also helped me with court cards. So good. But it's a little pippish in that see, like you just kind of have these cups, and so I put it off. I put off getting this deck for so long. I was like, it's too pippy. It's too pippy. It is not too pippy. It sits in such a beautiful spot for me. This deck just feels like a best friend that knows just what to say and how to say it when I'm ready to hear it. And I just know what is going on when I pull this deck out. I know what is being said. The message is always just so clear. And yeah, I love it. I love this Queen of Cups. I love her so much. This little divination queen, love. So yeah, Fifth Spirit Tarot, a very, very favorite. Okay, last tarot deck, and this one is pretty new to my collection, but God, as soon as I got it in, y'all, I so obsessed. I got it. This is the Teller Tarot, and I got it because I was looking for a RWS clone that just felt much more modern. I was between this and the Moon Baby, which was like very retro, but I ended up going with this because I think the colors are just so cool. And yeah, it shuffles really nicely and it reads. Oh, this baby reads me up and down. Yeah, she's sassy and punchy, just like her colors, but oh my God, it's so good. It is so good. I mean, again, very classic, right? But I just think that it's done so well, where it still feels like there's just something a little just different enough that it doesn't only feel RWS. I don't know, because it is. I mean, it's RWS, but I just feel so intrigued by this deck and so inspired when I read it, and we just read really well with each other. Like, we just know each other. And it was like that out of the box, y'all. Like, pulled it out, and this thing called me out. Not in an unloving way, but in a very truthful, like, Teller is a good name for this, because she gonna tell ya. But this was a big surprise. I didn't think an RWS clone would end up on my top 10 list, because I only have this and the Centennial edition in a tin. But yeah, that's the Teller Tarot. So as far as my two honorable mentions, they're both Oracle decks, and again, they both kind of play, I feel like they're both going to play a big part of my practice in 2024. So we have the Energy Archaeology Oracle deck, and this is by Ashley Stinson. She is working on a updated version of this, so it might look a little different when the next version comes out. The guidebook, incredible. So much information packed in there, but it's so much about embodiment and connecting to your body and the wisdom within your bones. And embodiment is there's a big focus on it for me this year. I'm feeling very called to somatic practices like breath work, EFT, dancing, just working with the body to heal. And this feels like it's going to play a really beautiful part in that practice. Such a cool card. So that's the Energy Archaeology. And then we have the Weaver's Oracle by Carolyn Hilliard. And this is a powerhouse of a deck. When I first got it in, I was very drawn to this character, this feminine figure right up here. She actually reminded me of when I was newly postpartum and my body was just drained, right? Breastfeeding and exhausted, and I just noticed her like right away. And the very first card I pulled was her, the Illuminating Woman. And I've been sitting with this same card for about 2 months now. And I had to go get my son who was waking up. But yeah, I've been sitting with this one card from this deck for a couple months now. And the layers that come with working with these cards is incredible. It feels like her lesson just keeps deepening, and extending and expanding, and I feel like I'll be working with the illuminating woman for, I don't know when our time together is over, but she's the weaver in my life right now, and she continues to show her threads, and I'm so grateful. So again, I can tell that in the long run, the Weaver's Oracle will be a favorite deck, but I only have experience with this one card and her story, but again, the depth that happens in the space of working with these weavers, these women. I'll show you just a couple more cards, but hold on. I gotcha. I'm working with one hand here as I hold my little buddy who woke up from his nap. Okay. And these cards feel like hand cut. I don't know how to describe it. They're almost like fabric-y. Like I don't know. They feel just so special. But these are the backs. It's beautiful, like woven pattern. But yeah, I mean, you can tell just how intensely powerful and riveting these women are, these weavers, these storytellers. And in the guidebook, they each have such an in-depth journeying into their story. It talks about their threads and their, let me see. I think it's like the thread, her yarn here, and then her braid kind of breaks down different aspects that you see in the image. They're like kind of thick, like doorway, dream of fire, and oracle pebbles. And then her cloth. This is kind of like a gist of the message, kind of here. This is like the whole story. This kind of breaks down some of the symbolism in the image, and then you have this message here. So that's for every single card. Carolyn Hillier just, I mean, what is it? I want to say it's at least 35 plus years of her work, of painting, traveling to connect with the essence of these weavers, their stories, these paintings. Some of these paintings, y'all, are like 9 feet tall. Like, you just feel it. Gosh, it's such powerful imagery. Oh, I love this one too. I think she's just beautiful. So yeah, something that it's a deck that I don't have so much familiarity with because I'm working with it so intimately, one card at a time for who knows how long. I think what I might do is I might do like instead of a year ahead spread, I'm thinking about picking a couple of decks in inspiration from Lisa Pepez, and pull a card from a couple different decks for each of the 12 months and then open them up at the beginning of each month and create my reading from there. So I'm thinking of using this deck, a deck for inner child work, and then maybe like an ancestral deck. I might make a video about that and tag Lisa. But yeah, thank you for spending some time with me. It feels so good to kind of get back and pull my decks out and talk talk about them again. So I hope you have a blessed and beautiful rest of your 2023. Just a couple days left here, and that you feel supported and guided and held in 2024. Until next time, y'all. Bye-bye.